Voila, so here the recording starts. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really happy that you are here. And well, this is a really special occasion. It's not every year that we have a solstice, a winter solstice, coincidental with such a great conjunction. Actually, this great conjunction happens every 20 years, but not so close, and never happen on the same day, the solstice. And this makes the event really remarkable. So let's explore. I want to invite all of you first to sit comfortably, because I'm going to speak a bit. I will explain maybe 20 minutes, maybe a bit more, it depends. I will explain a couple of things on these symbols and the meanings of this event. And then I will guide you through a meditation activation. And it will be great if you can sit in a comfortable way. You can sit on the floor, you can sit on a chair, on the sofa, on the couch. Do what you feel comfortable for yourself. Then at the very end of the meditation, I will ask you to open your eyes in case you want to close your eyes during the meditation activation. And I will ask you to stand up for just a couple of things about the integration of what we did. I invite you, if you have a candle, if you want to light a candle, this is a good moment to light a candle, but it's not mandatory. Moreover, you can tomorrow, oh, Marina, she is trying again. Let's see if Marina can do it now. Hopefully, if she can't, she knows how to follow everything anyway. So if you have a candle, this is the good moment to light a candle. Put it in a safe place. I have always to look at my cats because they love to burn their tails or bristles with the candle. So just put it in a safe place. And if you have maybe water, maybe your tea. I'm a tea drinker. When I speak so much, I need something warm. So sometimes I will sip a bit of my tea. Actually, you can do the meditation. The last part of this video, when you will receive the video, the last part, you can actually do it again, maybe tomorrow, in the following days. It's an activation. That means that what is going to happen tomorrow is not just, oh, it's finished. It happened 1 second. And then, no, it's an activation. It lasts forever. So you can come back forever, every day, to what we are going to do now. And it will, well, it will make sense for you. For everybody, this event has a different meaning for each person because you know that the natal chart is very personal. But in terms of mankind, this event, well, it means something for everybody. So let's explore. Let's start exploring. You know that already, I think you know that the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and at our latitude especially, it's the shorter day. It's the longest night. But actually, exactly that day, the daylight starts increasing every day a bit more. So it's the door for the winter. We officially enter winter with the solstice. So we enter in the coldest moment of the year, but actually it's also that period of the year in which the daylight start increasing every day. It's a bit, you know, that nature cycles, they mirror each other. So the cycle of the seasons in some way reflects also the moon cycle. So we can compare the winter to the dark moon, that phase in which the moon disappears. But it's also that moment in which, well, from that day, we can see that the moon starts again, crescent moon start a new cycle. In a woman's life, in the fertile age, the winter and the new moon, the dark moon, are really the moment of menstruation, that moment in which we get rid of something. It's like a moment of retreat. In a woman's life, this moment corresponds to menopause, but it's not just the end of fertility. No, it's the beginning of a moment, of a phase in which we can really finally draw from all the treasures of all the cycles. It's in the winter, it's the same. Apparently, the nature is still, it's dead, but in reality, underground, everything is happening, and everything is getting ready for spring and what comes after. So it's a really magical moment. I will schedule a specific meeting about the winter, the dark moon, and the menopause before the end of winter. Of course, I will let you know. But now let's look really at this winter. You know, the winter solstice is the entrance of the sun into the sign of Capricorn, okay? Earth. We go deep and we dig a bit to find the treasures, because the treasures of Earth, the crystals, the precious stones, the gold, they are hidden. We can't see them. They are not on the surface, right? And well, a seed, every seed, if we want to see the seed becoming a tree and giving fruits, we have to put it underground, in the darkness, the cold. There is something magical happening. It's transmutation. It's not even transformation. It's more than transformation. It's something that is not just a change in the shape. It's a change in the substance. There is something that can't happen but through kind of death. Okay, so winter solstice apparently is a door to this stillness and this cold, but in reality, because of the daylight increasing, in reality, this is really the rebirth of nature. And in all the spiritual traditions, not just Christmas, but before, in many, many spiritual traditions, at these latitudes, the winter solstice was the rebirth or the birth of a god. Okay, because in our body, on a symbolic level, our heart is the sun. And in many spiritual traditions, our heart is the door to spirituality, to the spiritual world, to immortality. Gold is connected with the sun, the sunlight. It's connected with our heart. It's uncorruptible. And if you are familiar with alchemy, you know that we can turn lead, it's lead, right? I'm not sure of the pronounce. That metal, very heavy, connected with Saturn. I never remember if it's lead or lead. Into gold, that's it. Anyway, you know, I'm Italian and my English is very creative, but you can understand me, I'm sure. So let's come back to the winter And this year, it's not just the sun entering Capricorn tomorrow, it's also Mercury strictly conjunct to the sun, strictly really together. And while Mercury in Capricorn, it invites us to be very well grounded, to be very rational. But rationality is not just to be into the logic and refuse everything else. Actually, the word ratio, it means balanced. So you know that Capricorn also is half a fish. In the iconography, it's kind of goat, mountain goat, but with the tail of a fish. It represents this passage from the depth of the subconscious to the heights, the mountains, the top. It's really a connection between the roots and the crown in our body. So it's kind of reminder there. And at the same time tomorrow, at the moment of the solstice, we have the moon and the Neptune really close in Pisces. That is a sign totally open to mystical influences and esotericism or humanitarian elan, like this. So it's really interesting because we have this balance. We have to keep the balance, and well, here here we come to this great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter that speaks of balance too, but in a very peculiar way, because Saturn is the governor, the ruler of Capricorn. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. We are leaving Sagittarius. We are entering in Capricorn, but those two planets are entering into Aquarius, actually. Aquarius is the sign of innovation. So what does it mean? So Saturn is the last planet we can see with our eyes, with no device, with no telescope, nothing. We can see the planets just until Saturn. After Saturn, we need a telescope. We can't see anything else, okay? And moreover, Saturn has rings around. So this planet represents limitations. I know you have enough, but let's speak of what is happening also in our lives, maybe. Saturn is about the limitation. It's the ruler. It's time. It reminds us of time. It reminds, well, just Marina, she's trying again. I try again to give her access. We'll see. So Saturn represents limits and limitations. It represents all those structures in our life, helping us build something and identify ourselves with something practical. So we need those structures. Sometimes the structures become like too narrow or too heavy. And so we have to free ourselves a bit from them and build something else. Otherwise, Saturn becomes really too much a limitation, a restriction. But we need a skin. Saturn is also connected with the skin. It's boundaries, you know. It's what defines us. It's what contains, okay? So on one side, it's also wisdom. It's also long-lasting results, discipline. It's not too bad, you know. I'm Capricorn, I know it well. But it's true that when it comes together with Jupiter, apparently we could have a conflict because Jupiter is, it's big, is the biggest planet. Actually, I took some tarot cards to show you. You know that this great conjunction will be visible as a one star. They will be together so bright, and so they will be like a bright, very bright star. And I love this card in the tarot, the star. I'm not sure you can see it. It's a naked woman, totally immersed in nature, and there is a big star. In my deck, I draw a deck, and the star is like really the guiding star you can follow to find your path. But you know, a star, our sun, the sun in the solar system is a star. So we can take a look at the sun also. And then in my tarot deck, there is the magician. And this is activation. It's involved this evening too, because I use a metaphor very often to speak about activation. And I use the metaphor of a star. You know what is a star? A star is, at the beginning, is just a cloud of dust in the space. And gases, at a certain point with gravity. You know that in the space, when some little things, they come together, they start gathering more material because of gravity. Gravity attracts, right? So when this cloud start to become more dense and keep collecting materials and collecting, at a certain point, I'm making it very short, it takes billions of years. At a certain point, the temperature starts increasing. And when the temperature starts increasing, then if the mass is enough, the stars, poof, explodes. It turns on. It's like lightening a big candle in space. So someone, many scientists actually, they say that Jupiter is a kind of star, but it was not big enough to ignite. This is the good word, I think, to ignite. So for us, it's okay. We are very thankful. Thank you, Jupiter. Stay there. Be the king of the planets. Perfect. So it's interesting because in some way, so in some way, Jupiter reminds us of a star, and when they join together, Saturn and Jupiter, we will see them like one big star in the sky, hopefully, because it's snowing and with all the clouds I can see anything. Anyway, try. It's close to the horizon, 1 hour after the sunset. Southwest should be visible tomorrow, even this evening. So Jupiter is expansion, while Saturn is contraction and limitation. Jupiter is benevolent. Jupiter is generous. Jupiter is the giver of all the gifts, fortune, good fortune, opportunities, expansion. And together, those planets mean wisdom, an incredible increase of wisdom and the ability to open ourselves to something totally new, totally new. From the inside, probably, we'll see from the outside what's going to happen. But the invitation here is really to find the light in the darkness. It's really like the universe is asking us to do our best to find the gift in the darkness and in all those narrow passages. The winter solstice and this conjunction together, they are speaking of the narrow door. Did you ever heard about the narrow door? Maybe in alchemy or in some Well, there are many, many meanings related to the narrow door. The narrow door is something we have to go through when we want to grow up, when we want an upgrade to a new level of ourselves, our consciousness. And so I decided to use a metaphor, an image, birth, okay? Because, of course, every human being, or almost many of the animals, the mammals, well, we used to come to this world passing through a very narrow space. Imagine you are happy in your mom's womb, well contained, well nourished, and at a certain point, it's time to go through this narrow space that squeezes us, and maybe we are surprised, maybe we feel pain, who knows what happens there. But for sure, in our life, it happens that we can feel ourselves under pressure. We can feel ourselves like, oh, things are really uncomfortable. Usually, after this moment, there is an opening. Because when we come to light, after this moment of narrowing space, we can breathe in a much wider space that gives us many more possibilities of growth, right? So this conjunction is like a birth. It's pointing at the moment before the birth, actually, and at the birth. Okay, so it represents this kind of, it's like to be, the key word can be channel. You know the difference between a sprinkle for the water and the hose. When you have the hose, you can channel the water in a very specific point with such power. And if you have a sprinkle, it's just spring, it's just the water like this. Okay, it's nice, but if you need the power, okay. And speaking of water or tea, I need containers if I want to drink tea. The magic of the tea happens here in the teapot. I put the leaves and I put the boiling water, but if I don't have containers, I can't boil the water. I can't pour the water anywhere, and I can't pour my tea in the teacup at the end. So we need containers. And so it's an invitation to look beyond the path which is narrowing, and think of diamonds. They need pressure. They need a lot of pressure to become diamonds, okay? I know it's, you might feel that, well, it's enough. But the universe has other plans for us, and the universe is asking us to become more aware of our relationship with nature in general terms, and stay more in touch with our nature in more specific terms, because we need a kind of awakening also to that, okay? But don't worry, you don't need to overthink. You don't need to think, okay, what I can do. Maybe you can do some things, but for now, what you have to do is really to open yourself to the energy of the event happening tomorrow. And it will work through your body, through your soul, it will work anyway. So I'm here, like the guiding star, tarot, to guide you through this meditation activation in order to make it easier. Also because, you know, our brain, our consciousness, it needs myths, archetypes, legends, and images to understand really, because otherwise just rational things, well, rational meaning balanced, We need logical thinking, and we need also the imagination. So don't worry if you are not used to visualize. You don't need even to visualize really, but follow me the most you can, and make yourself comfortable. If just in case during this meditation activation you will feel not completely comfortable, please feel free to open your eyes and do what you need to do. You can come back to the meditation later and finish it later, or just listen to me. You don't need even to close really your eyes. If you want to imagine and visualize, of course, maybe with your eyes closed will be easier, but feel free to rearrange, okay? Remember that after a contraction, there is an expansion. The breathing, imagine, feel your waistline. Imagine that you can feel it when you breathe in. Feel it filling when you breathe in around your spine. And when you breathe out, just feel it kind of coming back, okay? So this is an example. In nature, everything is like this. Okay? We expand, we contract, but then we expand again. Our heartbeat, there is a bit and a pause, okay? So this is what we are experiencing right now. We are experiencing the narrowing. But after this narrowing, after Saturn, Jupiter will bring us an expansion. We have just to be ready for that, okay? And in the meantime, work inside to find your opportunities to expand to something new, even if the world around is not allowing you to move too much. So you can find new ways. But let's see what this great conjunction is bringing to you. I see that I lost someone. So I lost Nori again. Sylvia's there. Well, anyway, hopefully you can follow me, and then I know that anyway, I will allow her to come back if the connection. Yes, she's here. Okay, good. Just before the start of the meditation. So hopefully everybody can follow me. Otherwise, the video hopefully later. If you have the candle, it's okay. If you have the water, you can also put aside a bit of water after the meditation. You can keep it in the fridge. It's the meditation water, is today water, and you can do it again tomorrow. It's really, at this point, it will be really the solstice water and the great conjunction water. You can keep it a bit in the fridge and use a drop when you feel that you want to keep this energy. But again, it's an activation. So this energy will stay with you, okay? Make yourself, okay, the last thing, at a certain point I will use this just to tell you that you can open your eyes. I will tell you, but I like the sound. So make yourself comfortable, sit, and if you like, close your eyes. Start from a place you feel safe. This means that you can start from where you are right now. Imagine that it's your safe place. Otherwise, if you have another place that you feel like your safe place, you can imagine to start there. But where we start, we will finish, okay? So I will bring you back from the meditation, don't worry. But as I already told you, feel free to open your eyes and do whatever if you don't feel comfortable, okay? Sometimes those doors, narrow doors are... Okay, so close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just relax, feeling in touch with your breathing. Don't force. Your breathing, don't force anything, just follow it. And well, imagine yourself cozy in your safe place. You are closing your eyes, you feel your breath, maybe you feel also your heartbeat and the sound of my voice, of course. And then imagine that there is something calling you outside. So you open your door and you go outside. It's, well, the sunset. The sun already went to sleep, and so it's a bit dark outside, but you are so attracted by something that you never notice. You notice a tree. Well, it's different than usual, that tree. It's a tree in a place in which you never saw that tree before. And it's a big tree, such a big tree. It's really impressive, with deep roots, and it's so tall. But then there is really something that attracts you. There is a light coming from the tree. It's like you can see a kind of break, and you realize that it's a door. It's a door. And so you can feel and you can see a little bit of light coming from this door. The door is not too big, but it's yeah, you feel that you can enter there. There is space. You are curious. And so you open that door. And you see that it's so beautiful what's inside this tree. You see there is a path. It's maybe stairs, or maybe just a path going down in the depth of earth. But this path, there is a light on the path. It's not dark at all there. So you start going down, and the colors are so warm, like bronze and copper, and finally you are there, and you can see up. You see about, you see the roots of this tree, and you are on a kind of, it's like a square, but it's not square. It's round. It's a big space. It's so big. And well, it's so big that you can't see the walls. Maybe there are no walls. But you can see that there is a big hole. Very big, such a big hole. It's like a pit. It's like a well, but there is no protection inside, around. So it's just this big space going down, and you can't see anything. You can see only the darkness. And so it's a bit, maybe, wow, you are a bit curious, but maybe you don't feel so comfortable in going there and see more. At a certain point, you might also think that, wow, this is going just right to the opposite part of Earth. In this moment, you can see, you start seeing a light coming from the depth of this pit, of this hole. And this light is so fast. It's like maybe a sunbeam, or you don't know what's that. But at a certain point, it looks like it's slowing down. But you realize that it's a mass of fire. It's like a star coming towards you, rising there. It's big because the hole is big. But when it comes toward you, then it starts shrinking. And so at the height of your heart, you are looking at this bright ball of light. It's like such a small little star, because it's brightening like a star. It's shining like a star, but it's small. It's like a walnut maybe. It's like an egg, but it's so bright and it's made of fire. It's like a little sun, a little star for real. And this start moving. It starts moving. And finally, you realize that there is like a round space all around, and there are doors there. There are so many doors, maybe 10, maybe 12, maybe more around you. And the star is there. You should maybe choose one door, and the star guiding you, the little star, goes toward one of those doors and invites you to follow her. And you start following because you are starting walking through this tunnel guided by this little bright star. But then you realize that, well, you are walking and you can walk. But the more you go ahead, and the more the walls, they become narrow and narrow, and the tunnel is narrowing so much that at a certain point you can't walk anymore. You have to crawl. And at a certain point, you are tempted to go back. But when you look back, there is nothing there so appealing because there is only darkness. The star is guiding you to go forward, to go ahead. And so you follow. You decide to follow, even if the tunnel is becoming so narrow and you start moving like a snake. But finally you see that there is a brighter, bigger light beyond the star. Finally, you are at the end of this tunnel. Finally, wow, you are out of this tunnel, and it's wonderful what you are seeing. You are in a valley, underground, and there are all the treasures of earth around you. It's so beautiful. There are waterfalls, there is vegetation, there are trees, there are animals, and there are crystals and precious stones, and there is gold. It's like all the richness of earth are there in front of you. And then you can start looking above and you see the sky. So you are underground, but there is an opening there and you can see the sky. And you can see a big, very big star in the sky. It's so big you never saw something so big before. And now you start feeling that the little star is just in front of you, in front of your heart. And this heart, this star is starting vibrating. And it's like calling all the light coming from the crystals. And you see that there is a star beam from the star in the sky connecting the sky with this little star in front of your heart. And finally you start feeling the connection between the star in the sky, the little star in front of your heart, and your heart itself. And then you know what you have to do. You have just to breathe, and you let this star, the little sun, the little star in front of you, in front of your heart, you let it in. And the star is coming, entering your heart. And you can feel goosebumps. You can feel your crown, which is now directly in touch with the light of the big star in the sky. And you feel your heart vibrating and so warm right now. And you feel from the depth of earth all the light of the crystals coming. And it's like your legs, your pelvis, your spine now are filled by this light from the earth. And now you can feel, finally, you need to take a deep breath, and there is something new happening. From the depth of earth, you feel something, and you notice that exactly at your feet, there is a big tree that starts growing up, and the tree is so big, as a giant tree. It embraces you, protects you, and brings you toward the sky. And you can feel you are connected with earth through the roots of this tree, and you are protected by the branches of this tree, and you are going toward the sky, and you feel again the contact with this star, beautiful star in the sky that now reflects in the star you have in your heart. And finally, from the tree, a branch. A branch extends and moves and brings you exactly where you start this journey. It brings you back to your safe place. And you can feel yourself sitting comfortably again in your safe place. And you can imagine that you can breathe through your heart right now and feel all this light around in your body, around your body. It's like you can breathe in and out this light. Now the activation had already took place. Now you are open to the blessing and the gifts from earth and sky, from the universe, from the macrocosmos and the microcosmos. So now you can open your eyes and you can stretch a bit and you can yawn a bit. And if you want, I'm not forcing you to do that, but if you want, you can just stand up. I'm moving so that you can look at me. You can just stand up and imagine you can breathe in through your joints. Your feet are really well grounded, your toes, everything is really in touch with the ground. And if you want to keep sitting, you feel your sit bones, okay? And then imagine that you can breathe in from all your joints, and when you breathe out, like the tree, you drill with your roots into the ground. You ground yourself even more, and you feel this power, the light grounding and the light coming up. It's like you can imagine that you can fill your waistline with the light you are breathing in, and when you breathe out, you can expand this light everywhere. So again, you breathe in and you can imagine you are rooting yourself. You are really connecting with the ground and you are growing toward the sky. So you can embody the earth and the sky. And you can feel the heat, the power, the opening in your heart. You can feel the sun, the star inside. And so, well, you are beautiful, such a beautiful 5-point star now. So you breathe in and you imagine that you are expanding from all the 5 points, your feet, your hands, your head, this light. And you can even, when you breathe out, of course, when you breathe in, you collect this light more and more and more. The sunlight, the moonlight, the starlight, candlelight. And when you breathe out, you can expand this light all around. There is no limitation right now. You can expand, you can feel it. You can use this light to bring the light in the darkness. You know, you are connected with the treasures of Earth and much beyond the universe. And don't think too much, because those events, they happen. They happen, definitely. And if we are aware of their meaning on a certain level, well, we can catch something more. But don't worry, even if you don't understand totally, and even if you can find a way to express now this light, your subconscious will do it. You are in an awakening process, so it will happen in the next weeks, months, years. And now I will invite you. Well, of course, before we end the meeting, I want to tell you, as usual, if you have anything that is not clear, if you want to deepen something, if you have questions, feel free to write to me, to ask me, especially if you are not in the meeting live, because now I will stop the video and I will ask you to share if you have questions, if you have insights, or if you want to share something. For those who are following from home, you have time, don't worry, even if you are not right on the solstice, you can do it for all the crescent moon until the 30th, or even after. It doesn't matter. If you meet this video later, it doesn't matter. You can enjoy anyway the energy of the meditation, everything. But yeah, if you have questions, feel free to contact me and ask more. There is something else I want to say. I don't remember really. Well, it's just about, yeah, it's about bringing the treasures to the light. You know, the crystals in the depth of Earth, they are so bright, but they are hidden. Usually, someone goes and takes and bring them to the light. It's like to have in the depth of Earth something mirroring the stars. So think of that and imagine that. How many times in our life we are doing this? We are bringing some light into the darkness, and then we can finally bring something that is, it's shining but is hidden to the light. Just play with those images. Play a bit with this and do the meditation again and again if you want, just the last part, and let me know. Now I'm stopping the video and allowing you to speak.